You know what I'm saying? You women can even wear tassels and put them on your jeans, your loose fitting jeans. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be on your apparel, right? Verse 39. And it shall be and it shall be unto you for a fringe, that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord Yahweh and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye used to go a whoring, that ye may remember and do all my commandments and be holy unto your God. Right? So these fringes are for a reminder for you to keep the commandments of the Most High and do the commandments of the Most High. Right? It's a remembrance. It's for you to be reminded, hey, I got to keep the commandments of the Heavenly Father. Not just the outward appearance look, but it reflects what's on the inner, right? It reflects what's on the inside. Yeah, you keep the law outwardly by wearing your fringes, but you also keep the law inwardly, the spirit of the law inwardly, because it's a reflection of the remembrance that the Most High told us to remember. And that's to keep the laws of God. We put the ribbon of blue on there because back in Exodus, the 24th chapter, the ground turned sapphire blue when the Most High appeared, right? When we made the covenant with the Heavenly Father, the ground turned blue. When he gave us the commandments, the ground turned blue. So that's why we put the border of blue on our garments, man. Let's get that in Exodus, the 24th chapter. And let's go to, we can start at the first verse. I'll read down, right? Exodus, the 24th chapter, in the first verse, and it reads, and he said unto Moses, come up unto the Lord Yahweh, thou and Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off. Verse 2, and Moses alone shall come near the Lord Yahweh, but they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him. And Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord Yahweh, and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice, and said, all the words which the Lord Yahweh have said, we will do. So all the children of Israel, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native, and Seminole Indians, y'all committed to the covenant. Y'all agreed to the covenant that you would keep everything that was written, that the Most High made, and we said that we would do those things. Verse 4, and Moses wrote all the words of the Lord Yahweh, and rose up early in the morning, and builded an altar under the hill, and 12 pillars, according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto the Lord Yahweh. And Moses took half of the blood and put it on basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. So he did a blood sacrifice, because a covenant is not sealed without the shedding of blood. Verse 7, and he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people, and they said, all that the Lord, all that the Lord Yahweh have said, we will do and be obedient. Verse 8, and Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant which the Lord Yahweh have made with you concerning all these words. Then went up Moses, Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel. Verse 10, and it's the point. And they saw the Most High of Israel, and there under his feet, as it were a paved work of sapphire stone, and as it were the body of heaven in its clearness, in his clearness. So that sapphire stone, sapphire is blue, right? Under his feet was paved work of a sapphire stone. So when Moses gave us these laws, statutes, and commandments, and we agreed to the covenant, right? This is what took place, right? We saw the God of Israel, the Most High of Israel, and there was under his feet as if it were a paved work of a sapphire stone. Right? So this imagery resembles the description of heaven's beauty and purity that's mentioned in Ezekiel, the first chapter in the 26th verse. It's also mentioned in Revelation, the fourth chapter in the sixth verse. Right? And that's why we put the border of blue on our garment. So the women should have their fringes on their dresses with their border of blue, man, as well as the men. Right? A woman must dress modestly, because it reflects her inward character. Now you have some women, they'll dress modest, right? They'll dress modest, have their fringes on, have their modest apparel on, but they be demons, man. Have their head wrap on, but they be demons. You know what I'm saying? Because the spirit of the law doesn't reflect the letter of the law. And the spirit of the law is supposed to reflect the letter of the law, right? But let's go to the book of Ezekiel, the first chapter and the 26th verse, right? Because it says that the body of heaven in his clearness, it was as the body of heaven in his clearness, right? And this blue also represents the body of heaven in its clearness, in his clearness. This is Ezekiel chapter 1 and verse 26, and it reads, and above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne as the appearance of a sapphire stone. And upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness as the appearance of a man above upon it. Right? So the firmament that's over their heads was like the likeness of the throne, man. When you look at the firmament over the head, that's like the throne of the Most High, man.
Yeah. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Hashem Mashiach Yahushai. All right, Kwam Yashala, we got next. All right, so this is another edition of the Shabbat class, HOI Shabbat class. Welcome. I'm your host, Kasadia. And on this adventure today, we're going to talk about health. Health is wealth. We should aim to be healthy Hebrews. The stuff that we grew up eating is different than it was today, different than it is today. So we're going to talk about that, what small steps we can do to be more healthier, get closer to the Most High God, get our mind clearer, get more focused, hone in our focusing while we're praying, while we're reading, so forth and so on. We're not getting easily distracted by our cell phones and notifications, so forth and so on. Okay, so of course, once again, giving all praise and honor to Yahweh Bashem Mashiach Yahushai, Kwam Yashala. Let's get started. First things first, of course, I have to say, while live streaming, Fair Use Act, Fair Use Act. This video is protected by the Fair Use Act. It is for this video is for educational purposes only. This is a teaching lesson, thus being protected by the Fair Use Act. All right, so let's get started with 3 John 1, verse 2. Let me gather my videos in order. It's not too many videos today, but they all have something to do with our health and getting us closer to a optimal level of health, further away from disease and sickness, and really preparing ourselves for the return of Hamashiach Yahushai. Getting our bodies right, getting our minds right, getting our kingly status in order, having being fit as a princess and as fit as a king. Let's get it now. Hoodie done by Yash, sharp, very sharp, wielding the sewer's needle. You know what I mean? So let's get started. All right. 3 John 1 and 2.
John, this is the book of 3rd John, chapter 1 and verse 2.
Water King.
John, beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth it.
Khan. So, you know, it's a it's praying for somebody, looking out for them. Man, I hope you're feeling healthy. Hope you're well. You know what I mean? Then we say that. I pray everything is good. Hope pray you're well. You know, because once you're sick, you got it's a quote, pretty much like you can have 1,000 problems, and if one of those problems is your health, then you have one problem. You know what I'm saying? Um, so the thousand, pretty much saying those 1,000 problems really are minimized when you find out that your health is compromised. You could have 99 problems, and if your health is one of them, that's the main one. So $1 billion doesn't really feel too good when you're laid up in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? Steve Jobs died with billions of dollars in his bank account. He couldn't take it with him, and all the money that he had couldn't give him one more minute of life. Same thing with Elon Musk. All the money that he has cannot give him one more hour a day and a minute of life. So, let's if at this point in time you have decent health, let's work on that. And at this point, if your health is a little, lacking, so forth and so on, there's small steps you can take towards being at that level that you want to be at. Okay, let's go to 1 Corinthians 6 and 16. So we're going to go through some things like garnishing, just sprinkling a little something on your food, maybe a different type of tea. When's the last time you had tea? If you're drinking a lot of coffee and a lot of soda, we know that's not good for us. As far as soda goes, you can clean your toilet, you can clean your sink with the Coca-Cola. It strips away of any I guess the harsh bacteria, or you know um you see the carbonated bubbling and everything like that that's happening in your body. It's just stripping things away. Don't need that. You know what I mean? Some people have it as a you know like almost like a reward system. I did good. I ate healthy today, so let me get a soda tonight. You know what I mean? If you do that every day, you're accumulating that soda and that sugar in your body. If you do it once a week, a little bit better. Do it once a month, even better. But if you never drink it, you'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? Now, okay. Before I go any further, I'm not a doctor. Okay, so one thing, I'm not a doctor, so this is not medical advice. This is some things I learned throughout life, and as you're gonna see on the YouTube, my medical license came by via YouTube videos. Not true. All right. But we're gonna do the best we can while we're here. Okay, so let's bring that out. 1 Corinthians 6 and 16. Oh wait, you know what? 19, Slovakia.
John, this is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 6 and verse 19. What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Most High, which is in you, which ye have of God, and ye are not your own?
So the temple of the Holy Ghost, right? So we don't have a a choice but to do right by our bodies. You know what I'm saying? We're bought at a price. You know what I'm saying? As I'm gonna say in the next verse. Can you read the next verse?
John, for ye are bought with a price. Therefore, glorify Yahweh in your body and in your spirit, which are God's.
Okay. So, you know, one thing we understand is that our bodies go through a lot here in America, right? As far as the stuff that they're dumping in the air, dumping in the water, the vaccines, the food, you name it. So your body's constantly being attacked, if you will, allergies, so forth and so on. You know what I mean? So the parasites that are in all of our bodies, if you look at the parasites, they look demonic. You know what I'm saying? If they up close picture of a parasite, the gadget teeth and everything it looks like a damn demon. You know what I mean? Um, and it can hinder our becoming healthy because while we're eating things that we're thinking is making our body healthy and everything, it's feeding the parasites. So, some things we're gonna do to get rid of these parasites, turn the bad bacteria into decent bacteria, good bacteria, for gut health. When your gut is healthy, you're feeling better, you're less depressed. If we're eating terrible foods, it's just a cycle of eating terrible foods, feeling terrible, and then eating more terrible foods to feel better. You know what I mean? So if you're caught up in that cycle, there's ways to exit. There's an exit strategy out of this. All right, and it's just small things. Taking the steps instead of the elevator, walking the long way, you know what I'm saying, instead of taking the shortcut, you know what I mean? Getting more exercise, getting more sun, getting more fresh air, not sitting in front of a computer all day or in front of our phone all day. All right, let's stay in Corinthians. Let's get First Corinthians 3 and verse 17. So we have an obligation to be healthy. We're doing the work of the Most High God. He wants us to run on, I guess, um, optimum level. You know what I mean? So you're gonna have to detox. You're gonna have to eat things that will take these heavy metals and these parasites out of your body. You know what I mean? In order to be your best. All right, but let's bring that out. First Corinthians 3 and 17.
This is the book of First Corinthians, chapter 3 and verse 17. If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy. For the temple of God is holy, which temple ye are.
So if you defile this temple, God will destroy you. We need him a lot more than he needs us. Okay, so let's not gamble with that. So with that in mind, getting good sleep. All right, getting good sleep is important. Uh, getting enough water, all important stuff. Okay. Um, let's go to Exodus chapter 23 and verse 25. So that's one things we can do. Like Gad says, rise and fall with the sun. In the background you see that is San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. And it's a sunrise or a sunset, not sure. But when the sun rises, that's the time you should be getting up. When the sun sets, it's time you should be winding down and going to sleep. Um, a lot of us fall short of these sleep patterns, but you can definitely change. You know what I'm saying? You definitely change and you will feel better. One thing that was viral, it was the guy that's showing his morning routine. So he wakes up at like 4 in the morning or 3:45. He's already running a mile. He's putting his face in the water. He's reading. He's doing a podcast. Like he's eating breakfast. So by the time a lot of people even roll out of bed, he's done. You know what I mean? His morning routine is done. He probably went to work and came home and his day's probably done at like 9, 10 o'clock. Who knows? But maybe not that early. But it sets him up for a productive day. That's what we gotta do. We gotta set ourselves up for a productive day, not putting trash in our mouth. If he woke up eating Fruit Loops with a whole bunch of dyes in them, America's full of dyes. If he had some Fruit Loops and some pork bacon, and and it's like a pork bacon sandwich for breakfast, by the time it's 10, 11 o'clock rolling around, he's done. He's falling apart, but he was putting the good stuff in his body. It seems like fruits, all that good stuff, water, putting the cold water in his face, and he was moving throughout the whole day, and he probably does that, I'm assuming, every day. You know what I mean? So it's good to get into good habits. All right. Okay, so let's bring that out. Exodus chapter 23, verse 25.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 23 and verse 25. And ye shall serve Yahweh thy power, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee.
So we got to serve God and we can get sickness away from us. You know what I mean? He will bless our bread, bless our water. Right now, our food is defiled, water's gone. They put fluoride in the water. They put GMOs in the food. Stuff that we have seeds in it a lot of times. So we gotta get back on track with the Most High so we can get these sicknesses away from us and get some decent food. Also, you know, the things that Esau has been allowed to do by the other Edomites, and we start to see cancer rates going up, heart disease going up, all these things going up, and they're like, we have no idea what's happening. You know what I mean? Um, but of course, you look at any product that you bring in your house, for the most part, and there's a warning label that says this might cause cancer. This cause mess up your birth rates. So regardless whether it's food or a TV or a refrigerator or something, um, a lot of stuff that is in America can make us sick. Okay. So getting closer to the Most High God can alleviate that. Let's go to Exodus chapter 15 and verse 26. So we got to lean on the Most High God. It ain't just about reading labels. You know what I mean? Our problems in America and beyond is much more than just the surface level. We have we disturbed God. You know what I mean? And the things we were supposed to do, we got God upset at us. So we got to bring down that level of disrespect that we show towards our Maker. And increase the respect level and see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Even right now, though, us waking up and find out who we are and what we should be doing, there's states right now, I know Utah for one, that is changing the water. So the fluoride that they have in the water, they're getting rid of that. Also, in the federal government, they're taking away the dyes. It's slowly happening, but they're taking away the dyes out of the food system. So as you see us waking up, the Most High God's giving us some good signs to keep on going. But let's bring that out. Exodus chapter 15 and verse 26.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 15 and verse 26. And said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Yahweh thy power, and will do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians, for I am the Lord that healeth thee.
So the Lord healeth. Um, so um, so what we gotta do? Listen to the voice of the Lord thy God. What's that? His law, statutes, commandments. That's the voice of God. Reading his Bible. What he commands us to do. Get these diseases out of us. Get these diseases away from us. You know what I mean? Your body always tries to come back to being normal. That's what it does. You know. But of course, Esau, being the diabolical beast that he is, he'll have different pills and tonics and so forth and so on that'll keep you alive with some side effects and so forth and so on. You got to keep on having their medicines. You got to keep on, with your prescriptions, so forth and so on. You know what I mean? And they'll make money off it, but your body will come back to normal. And there's plenty of research on that, how people have gotten diagnoses and they started eating healthy, raw foods, vegetables, fruits, nuts, so forth and so on. And they totally changed their diagnosis. Next time they went to the doctor, they couldn't even tell that they were sick. So they don't talk about that as much because it'll take money out of the pockets of big pharma and Pfizer and Johnson and Johnson and all those other places, Merck, all these other drug companies. But what God says, we just got to do what He says. You know what I mean? And we really haven't tried that. If we look at it as a whole, we haven't tried to do what the Most High God has told us to do in order to get well. You know, um, Not even really thought about the idea of sickness as a result of not following what God tells us to do. You know what I mean? But if you look at Deuteronomy 28, uh, you know, 15 on down with the curses, it talks about sickness. It talks about not being well. All right, let's go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 38 and verse 4. So to combat that, let's stop eating pork. That has to be a big one. You know what I mean? As far as the food that we put in our body, pork being at the top, at least at the top. You know what I mean? Shrimp also there, bottom feeders. But pork is something that it's almost a fixture in our households growing up. Whether it's a ham and cheese sandwich, pork bacon for breakfast, ham and cheese for lunch, and some type of chitlins or something for dinner. You know what I mean? It's been a fixture, and it's been messing up our bodies, tearing up our intestines and our digestive system to the point where we're in and out the hospital. But that is a law that we're supposed to keep. We're not supposed to eat that stuff. All right. Let's bring that out. Ecclesiasticus 38, verse 40. You there, King? Oh, there you go.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter 38 and verse 4. The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not harbor them.
So if you're wise, you're not going to hate the message that the Most High God put on the earth. You're way too old to say, I don't like that vegetable. That vegetable tastes nasty. A lot of vegetables have like a bitter type of taste to them. You know what I mean? It's when you put in the seasoning and cook it longer, whatever, it could actually ruin the nutritional value. But if you're an adult and you're saying you don't like vegetables and stuff, you got to kind of grow out of that. You know what I'm saying? That's something for kids. You got to understand how important it is for your body to flush out toxins and to give you all types of vitamins and minerals, and it just don't taste like ice cream. You know what I'm saying? And if it did, everybody would be healthy. I suppose. You know what I mean? But well, at least from a what they put in their mouth, aspect. But you know, um, you might have to take a hit. You know, that salad might not be. It might not taste like a cheesecake. It might not taste like a pineapple upside down cake. But it's some things you got to sacrifice. And they don't all have to taste terrible, but it might not taste like the best thing you ever had in your life. Okay. But in order to get healthy, you gotta move in that direction. A lot of things come out of the dirt. They're not, made through processed foods, so you got to go where that is, the farmers markets, uh, you know, around here they have trucks, you know what I mean, where brothers will go to the shipyard and get boxes of apples and boxes of oranges and then tie them up and then sell them individuals, you know what I mean, three or four each, be like $1, $2. So it's not breaking your pockets that much as compared to if you go to McDonald's. You go to McDonald's and get an extra value meal, which you're going to be hungry 20 minutes later anyway. You paid for that like $6, $7, easy. You know what I mean? So you're not really getting a deal with the fast food. It's fast food, fast death. You know, the food that you have to buy and clean and cook and de-seed and do all that other stuff. That's the kind of food that you need. That's the kind of food that your body needs. The easy microwave oven. You might have lived through that. Um, TV dinners. There was a big thing back in the 80s and 90s or whatever. It was TV dinners. You get yourself a you, it came in so
Hungry man dinner.
I know that's so off, man. Like you think about it, that's so
Hungry man
terrible.
dinner.
Hungry man dinner. Yo, and you would come home from work and you're tired, your back hurts, and your wife's like, I just made dinner. And all she did was get it out the package and throw it in the microwave for 2 minutes. And that was dinner. And come to find out, it's terrible for you because that stuff does not go bad. You know what I mean? For the most part, I think they have some, they flip some that, is decent, but nothing beats going out, buying your food, cleaning your food, and actually, cooking your own food. You know what I'm saying? They did a study with a microwave, right? You can do it too, right? You take two plants that look similar, they're growing the same, all that, right? You get some water, you heat it up in the microwave. Let it cool down. So you think, oh man, it's just because it's hot, it'll mess up. No, let it cool down. So you got wet regular water and microwave water. And make sure you clearly mark on the plant which one has the microwave, what has the regular. The plant with the microwave water will die, you know what I mean, pretty quickly. So you got to ask yourself, what is this microwave water slash microwave doing to me? What is happening to my insides? I microwave everything and I feel fine. Right now you do. You know what I'm saying? That's why, doing this class, it'll be good to make some lifestyle choices. Like, do I really need a microwave? Not really. You can get what is it? It's like a regular bowl, not bowl, but a regular pan. Um, and you put something over top of it, like a grill almost on top of it, and you can, close it, and heat it over your stove, and you have water at the bottom of it. So whatever you're cooking, say you know, normally you'll throw a slice of pizza in to the microwave to heat it up. You can do that in the pan and have water at the bottom of it, and it steams it, and it will be hot. But it's a lot safer for your body than the microwave, allegedly. Okay, so I had to keep saying stuff like that, allegedly, and so they say, and reports say, so forth and so on. So no, so I'm not standing on anything, and they say, oh, that's information, misinformation. So allegedly, we're gonna say that. All right, let's go to Proverbs 3:24. So God made medicines out of the earth, right? So you got herbs, you got vegetables, you have fruit. A lot of people's digestion's messed up because of the hungry man dinners and, the fast foods that we eat. So we got to get back to a natural state. And that means getting stuff that's off of trees, that's grown on trees. Um, you might not have to pick it yourself, but if you can go to a place where it's already picked, there you go. You can have that for breakfast instead of having a Baconator from Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know if they make Baconators yet, but I'm sure they will. You can have an apple, an orange, a pear, a bag of nuts, if you're not allergic to them, um, and some grapes or some seeds, grapes with seeds in them, right? You can have all that, and that'll be your breakfast. Then that's a great breakfast. You know, you're gonna be moving and shaking and going to work, and hey, you need help with that? You can be helping people. They're like, wow, what's wrong with them? They got a lot of energy. All right. So, and that's the move because we're getting into our kingly status. Our status as princesses. So we're gonna eat like kings and queens. You know what I mean? Or kings and princesses. You know, like the kings just sitting there and somebody has the people have the what is it, like the fans, they're fanning them and they're sitting back eating grapes. That's us. You can't be sitting back eating Doritos and nachos. You got the dribble down, got the salsa falling off your beard and everything. Nah, man, you gotta be eating the grapes, the grapes with seeds in them. You know what I'm talking about? The good stuff. All right, let's bring that out. Proverbs 3 and 24.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 3 and verse 24. When thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid of ye. Salakia, thou shalt not be afraid. Yea, thou shalt lie down, and shall and thy sleep shall be sweet.
So we're gonna
Tongue
aim.
twister, Salakia.
I know, right? We're gonna aim to get excellent sleep. Okay. If you have a problem with insomnia, you're up all hours of the night. It's almost like you're just looping constantly. You're up all night, you're tired through the day. By the time you get home and you're able to relax and stuff, it's still late at night and you're doing the same thing over and over again. We're trying to get past that and get some sleep, right? So one thing they have is the 4-7-8 method. I don't think I have that on here, but let's watch this video, right? And we'll while I'm watching it, I'm gonna look for the 4-7-8 method, and that helps with sleep. Okay, it's your breathing. Um, your breathing is really important to all aspects of your life. But when you sleep, there's a method that if you do, it'll help you get to sleep faster. Okay, I gotta find it though. So while I do that, enjoy this. Talks about what is, not getting sleep. Is that bad for your health? Yes or no?
Do you prefer late nights or early mornings? One of those choices could be bad for your health. This is News Review from BBC Learning English. I'm Neil.
And I'm Shan. Make sure you watch to the end to learn vocabulary about today's story.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and try the quiz on our website. Now, our story.
Staying up late into the night. For some people, it's just the way they prefer to live, but it may be affecting their health. New research from the US found that night owls may be more likely to develop heart disease and diabetes. It's because people who get up early burn fat for energy more easily.
You've been looking at the headlines, Shan. What's the vocabulary?
Okay, we have night owl, chronic, and prone to.
This is News Review from BBC Learning English. Let's have a look at our first headline.
Okay, this one is from Sky News. Early bird or night owl? How your sleep cycle puts you at risk of heart disease and diabetes.
So the headline asks what kind of sleep pattern you have. Do you prefer to stay up late or do you like getting up early? And there are two expressions in there for those two situations. What are they?
Okay, so the one we're going to look at is night owl. What can you tell me about owls, Neil?
Well, owls are a type of bird and they stay up late. They stay up all night and they are very active at night. That's when they do their work, which is hunting in this case.
Exactly. And so we call people who stay up late night owls. It means they stay up late, but also they are mentally or physically active at night. What about the opposite, Neil?
Well, we can also see in the headline the expression early bird, which comes from the saying, the early bird catches the worm. And it describes someone who likes to get up early. There are other ways of saying that as well. You can call someone an early riser or a morning person. Which one are you, Sean?
I used to be a night owl, and I think naturally I'm a night owl, but I want to be a morning person, so I've made myself become one. How about you?
Well, the same, yeah. I like staying up late, but it's never a good idea. Let's have a look at that again. Let's have our next headline.
This one is from CNN. Night owls at high risk of certain chronic diseases, study says.
The headline is saying that night owls, that's the expression we just looked at, are at a higher risk of developing chronic diseases. And that's the word we're looking at, chronic.
And if we use chronic to describe an illness, it means it's long-lasting, so it doesn't go away. For example, if I hurt my back in an accident and the pain lasts forever, I can say I have chronic pain or a chronic backache.
Yeah, and in a medical sense, the opposite of that is acute. So if you hurt your back, but you get better after a couple of weeks, that is not chronic pain, that is acute pain. We use this word, though, chronic, for more than just illnesses, don't we, Sean?
That's right. We can use it to describe situations which are long-lasting and bad. So, for example, we can talk about chronic unemployment, or we can say there's a chronic shortage of doctors.
Yeah, and as you said, that's for bad situations. And in fact, in slang, you can use the word chronic on its own just to mean bad. So, for example, did you see that new detective drama on TV last night? It was chronic.
Acting was terrible. And one more thing to note about the pronunciation. So the spelling and pronunciation are a bit tricky. Normally, when we see CH, it's pronounced ch, like cheese. But here it's h, so chronic.
Let's take a look at that one more time.
Yeah, did you see that movie? That acting was chronic. Who says that? That's Esau making stuff up.
Our next headline, please.
This one's from The Guardian. Night owls may be more prone to heart disease and diabetes, study finds.
So in this headline, we see that word night owls again, and it's saying that people who stay up late are more likely to develop diseases. And we're looking at the expression prone to.
That's right. So if you're prone to something, it means you're likely to be affected by something bad. So, for example, smokers are prone to lung disease, or professional footballers are prone to leg injuries. So the structure is prone to, followed by something bad.
Yeah, and we also use this expression prone to describe certain negative types of behavior that people have in their personality. So, for example, if someone doesn't tell the truth a lot, we can say they are prone to lying.
Or someone that exaggerates a lot can be prone to exaggeration. And we have another phrase, which is accident prone. So if someone is accident prone, then they tend to have a lot of accidents.
Yeah, but be careful, you can't just create an adjective like that by adding prone at the end. Accident prone is a set expression. We wouldn't say lying prone. Okay, let's have a look at that again. We've had night owls, people who stay up late and are active at night.
Chronic, it's bad and it lasts a long time.
And prone to, likely to be affected by something bad.
Don't forget, there's a quiz.
All right, so You gotta understand, right, that using the different words that Esau is saying, prone to, could potentially get chronic, late night owl, late owls, that's like it, night owls. Um, the chances of you getting something that you don't want, you could get not getting enough sleep. You can get diabetes by staying up late, snacking. Um, you're probably thinking, well, everybody else does it, and everybody else is getting diabetes. You know what I mean? The foods that we eat are pretty bad. They're pretty terrible. You look at, you try to, you know, um, pronunciate 5 words out of the ingredients of your cornflakes, and you're like, what am I eating? Ain't got nothing to do with corn or flakes. You know what I mean? So make sure you get enough sleep for your body to recharge, to digest your food, um, all those important things. Okay, let's get Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 23. And give me 1 minute. Do something. But when you got it, you can bring it out. So we'll start with the sleep, and then we're going to get into detoxifying the body. Go ahead, can you bring it out?
Con, this is the book of Ephesians, chapter 4 and verse 23. And be renewed in the spirit of your mind.
So, talking about, as repentance, uh, the fight against good and evil, and changing yourself, and that's something that we could do daily. Repent daily, of course, you know what I mean, in these last days, and take your sleep seriously. You know what I mean? Take your sleep seriously. What is the Most High gonna give me a dream tonight? It's gonna be a restful sleep. I could wake up and attack the day, the next day, the day to come. You know what I mean? Or you're just trying to prolong this day so long, thinking that you're gonna miss something. You're not gonna miss anything. You know what I mean? And well, potentially you could, because as you sleep, people on the other side of the world that are starting or they're engaging in wars and so forth and so on are at battle. So anything can happen at night. But you know, you gotta give your body a chance to recharge. You gotta give your body um, a renewal process every day. You know what I mean? It's torturous in Guantanamo Bay to keep people up for 2, 3 days and play loud music and make them watch TV and make them, keep their eyes open, so forth and so on. So why do it to yourself? You're actually torturing yourself. Get your sleep. All right. It's very important. All right, let's go to Exodus chapter 16 and verse 31. You know what I mean? Think about the king of the jungle, the lions. How long does a lion sleep throughout the day? A lion's not up wondering what the hyenas are doing. The lion's recharging. You know what I mean? Sleeps throughout the day, and it's time to go hunting. He sends his women out to go hunting. You know what I mean? But a majestic animal as the lion, as the king of the jungle, gets his ample amount of sleep. Thus, so should you. All right, let's bring that out. Exodus chapter 16 and verse 31.
Con, this is the book of Exodus, chapter 16 and verse 31. And the house of Israel called the name thereof manna, and it was like a color there, seed, white, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey.
All right, talking about the manna. And we're gonna talk about that seed, that corridor seed, corridor seed. Am I pronouncing it right? Okay. it comes from a plant, a similar plant. Oh, matter of fact, Salakia, I did say we're going to do the 4-7-8 breathing technique, right, for sleep. So if you give me 1 second while I get that set up, just to go, Salakia, just to see a little bit of what it is. All right. Just to see a little bit. So if you're asleep, right, and you're, or you're trying to get some sleep.
4-7-8 breathing method.
Salakia.
A very powerful tool to help you.
And you're trying to get some sleep and you can't because your mind's racing. You're thinking about everything you did today, everything you're going to do tomorrow, what your supervisor said. What did he mean by that? What your coworkers say? What does she mean by that? You're going over all this stuff in your head and you realizing, man, it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. You're like, I'm not be able to sleep. So check this out. This is a breathing exercise where you breathe in for 4, hold for 7, out for 8. All right, let's just watch this real quick.
This is the 4-7-8 breathing method. A very powerful tool to help you fall asleep. This works by lowering the heart rate and putting you in a relaxing state to help you drift off. First, get into a comfortable position in a dark room. Place the tip of your tongue behind your 2 front teeth. We will start in a moment when you hear this sound. But first, let's practice. You will breathe in quietly through the nose for a count of 4. Then hold your breath for a count of 7. Then you're going to exhale forcefully through the mouth, pursing the lips, making a whoosh sound for 8 seconds. Now, when you're ready, let's repeat the cycle 4 times together. You can do more on your own if you need to. I'll guide you with the breath sounds as we go, so you can keep your eyes closed if you wish. Let's begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure we have the gist of that, right? If you're serious about getting a good night's sleep and recharging for the day, then definitely do that. You know what I'm saying? You just don't, if you're healthy right now, you just don't want to wait till you're sick to really make lifestyle changes. I mean, of course you can, and you definitely should, but as of right now, you're like, I have no autoimmune diseases. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm fairly healthy. This will be the time to put these things into practices. I know people that double down and say, "Oh man, since I mean I eat the worst type of food and I don't get any sun. I don't do anything good for myself, but I'm healthy, so I'm good." But when it does, take place, when sickness does knock on the door, they're not preparation isn't answering the door. Okay, so prepare, prepare, prepare. Okay, so the coriander seed, if I'm saying that right. So cilantro, I believe in parsley also carries that seed. Uh, is a great detoxifier. So getting sleep is good. Your body is able to rest. Gets, of course, your brain's not resting, your heart's not resting, but your body, gives your muscles time to relax. And it helps your digestion, clear things out, so forth and so on. With cilantro, it is a great detoxifier. It'll detoxify the body, which is very necessary because we live in a toxic environment. So living in a toxic environment, we have to detoxify. I won't say almost on a daily basis, but fairly okay. Fairly frequently. Okay. Issachar does this a lot. Cilantro is in a lot of his food. 10 Tribes has this a lot in their food. We need to incorporate this more into our food, if you don't already, okay, to detoxify the body. All right, let's watch this video. Slack, let me set it up again. Cilantro is pretty strong, for it to be such a small plant, but it's once you put it in, what do we have? We're in Chicago. We went to a taco spot and they had a lot of cilantro in their tacos, and you couldn't really the jerk season for the taco was so strong you couldn't taste the cilantro at all. So a lot of situations you won't be able to taste it because whatever you're eating is so strong, possibly, but it's very recommended you put in your daily intake.
I wanted to create this quick video to answer the question, what is cilantro good for? Now, cilantro is also known as Chinese parsley and coriander, which also describes the seeds of cilantro. Now, cilantro is a powerful antioxidant. It's an antiseptic, which prevents the growth of microorganisms. It's antifungal, anti-inflammatory, just like a lot of other herbs. It has a good amount of vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin K1. It has minerals, calcium, selenium, magnesium, manganese, folate. But the main benefit of cilantro is this. It is a heavy metal chelator. Now, the word chelation comes from the word claw, because a chelator attaches onto heavy metals and binds them and pulls them out of the body. So cilantro is good to remove aluminum from the body, mercury, arsenic, lead, and cadmium. If you have high levels of these, I would recommend either consuming cilantro with every single meal or taking cilantro as a supplement 3 times a day for 3 to 4 months to see the effect. The nice thing about detoxifying yourself using cilantro, because you're working with the body, using all the phytonutrients and doing it on a very gradual level. And lastly, if you wanted to know more about the symptoms of heavy metal toxicity, I put a link below.
Okay. Coriander seeds. So there it is in the scriptures, in the Exodus. Don't abhor it. You know what I'm saying? This is coming straight from Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Knowing, of course, that we would be in a very toxic environment, that we need to get these heavy metals out of us. Focus more. You don't have that foggy feeling all the time. You go upstairs to get something. You get there, you're like, what am I here for? You got to stand there for a second. And you're like, I don't know. Then you go back downstairs and then you remember and then you go back down, So all that it gets can potentially get cleared up, clearing the heavy metals it's in all of our bodies, arsenic, lead, all that stuff. Aluminum. Your deodorant, you look at it, probably might have aluminum in it. So you've been putting that on for years and been like putting aluminum into a spot that's very vulnerable as far as blood barrier and go right into your system. Now you have aluminum in your system. Drink some water. You've been drinking water, tap water your entire life. You got fluoride in it. You've been drinking it a lot. So these heavy metals you want to get them out of your system. Okay. Let's go to Deuteronomy 7 and 15. Con. Deuteronomy 7 and verse 15. You got it, you bring it out.
God, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 15. And the Lord will take away from thee all sickness, and will put none of the evil diseases of Egypt, which thou knowest upon thee, but will lay them upon all them that hate thee.
So getting the disease away from us and onto them is crucial. All right, so we're going to do this right now. Matter of fact, let me read the cilantro first. Cilantro usage. Cilantro is traditional in Mexican cuisine. It can often be found in salsa, chopped in tomatoes, onions, jalapenos, and accompanied by lime juice. In Asian cuisine, cilantro is popular in culinary recipes and used lavishly as a garnish. Coriander seeds can be used to flavor chicken, rice, potatoes, and eggplants, and also go well with ginger and carrot soup. Indian curries often include ground coriander, a popular spice in garam masala. The long secret original recipe for Coca-Cola included coriander oil. Interesting.
Salakia.
Khan.
It's pronounced coriander.
Coriander.
And Indian curry.
Khan. Dawada.
Yandabar.
Khan. This hardy annual is also known as coriander or Chinese parsley. It is more closely related to carrots than parsley, despite its alternative name. The leaves have a strong, distinct, and pungent flavor that tends to inspire love or hate. All parts of the plants are edible. The leaves and stems are called cilantro, and the seeds are often referred to as coriander. I'm saying it right, coriander. The seed coriander is mentioned in Sanskrit texts and the Bible. Originally in Asia, Europe, and Mediterranean, it was valued by ancient Egyptians for a multitude of uses, both nutritional and medicinal. The dry seeds take a lemony flavor with time. All right. So that is the cilantro. Check it out. Put in your diet. Not medical advice, but it could increase your productivity. All right, let's talk about oregano. Okay, so these are garnishes, right? You can garnish cilantro in your, put in your food, whatever, like Issachar does, put in salsa, so forth and so on. Oregano, same thing, right? And we want to keep sickness away from us. You can make oregano. You can make oregano oil. Here's Eve going to talk about it. You can make oregano oil by taking oregano, filling up a mason jar about halfway, then putting in olive oil, letting it sit for I think 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, somewhere like putting it in the cabinet, and then strain it into a dropper, and you have oregano oil. And it helps with everything. As Eve is going to tell you, she is all in for oregano oil. Okay. So instead of waiting till you get strep throat, waiting for you to get some type of fungal disease or whatever like that, you can have that on deck, and you start feeling a certain way, put a couple drops in some water, like Eve was gonna say, and how you feeling on the up and up. But let's hear what she had to say about oregano oil.
I don't know if I've ever told you guys about this, but it's my literal secret weapon. Well, it's not really a secret. A lot of people know about it, but it's a weapon. She be fighting for me. It's literally oil of oregano. This stuff, powerful. Powerhouse. I'm not kidding, and so potent. I'm rarely ever sick, really rarely ever sick, and I take a drop of this every now and then. Literally, this bottle right here, the serving size is 2 drops because it's so powerful. It's basically a natural antibiotic. It's loaded with antioxidants, it's anti-inflammatory, antifungal, antibacterial, all the antis, right? And it does a lot of other things too. It boosts serotonin and dopamine, it decreases anxiety, it boosts your focus and your mood and motivation. It's just amazing. And literally everybody needs to have this in their cabinet. I'm not kidding. Anytime somebody tells me they're sick, I immediately tell them to get this and they feel better so quickly. I'll link it in my Amazon storefront so that you can easily find it, but I'm not kidding. This stuff is so important. It is so good for you. It'll have you feeling so healthy all the
If some
Okay, shout out to Eve. You know what I mean? So, oregano. People put it on like pizza, some of the Italian dishes, and so forth and so on. But whatever you want to put it on, it's up to you. You can garnish it. Just a little sprinkle here, sprinkle there, and somebody did a study with oregano oil versus the leading brand of antibiotics when it came to like put it on a bacteria. The drop from the oregano oil compared to the antibiotics, the drop cleared things out faster than the antibiotics. So just putting that out there. All right, some good stuff. Okay, so we got cilantro, oregano oil, right? We got sleep, important, you know what I mean? Building ourselves up to be some healthy Hebrews. All right, let's talk about some turmeric. Let's go to Psalm chapter 104, verse 13. Now, turmeric, one of my personal favorites, due to several issues with my knee and pretty much chronic pain, had to find something that had a natural side to it to help out. You know what I'm saying? To help out with this pain without, constantly taking Tylenols or Advils and stuff that's not good for your liver, not good for your kidneys, that have side effects, so forth and so on. You want to get as natural as possible. So turmeric was my go-to. Not all turmeric is created equal, right? The best turmeric you can get is like the actual turmeric, like the root, to go into a store, or to a fruit and vegetable venue, and to get actual turmeric, and you can juice it. This guy, Esau's sick, man. I didn't even think about that. Esau's like, man, I just eat it. You know what I mean? Like people eat an onion. Esau's just eating turmeric. So I haven't thought about that, but I'm gonna have to look into that, because you can, of course, take the skin off and garnish it on things, or make it in food, like curry dishes or something like that. But he's just eating it like you eat a carrot. And black pepper also. Black pepper works with absorption of turmeric. Okay, but let's bring that out. Psalm chapter 104, verse 13.
God, this is the book of Psalm, chapter 104 and verse 13. He watereth the hills from his chambers. The earth is satisfied with the fruit of thy works.
Khan, go ahead.
He curseth the grass to grow for the cattle.
Cause it.
And Shalaki, he causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth.
Khan. So the herb for the service of man. Okay. Slakia. My bad, y'all. Um, so and the thing about it is, Salakia. the thing about it is it does a bunch of things. You know what I mean? Turmeric doesn't just do one thing. You know what I mean? It does work with inflammation, pain, chronic pain. Uh, it does a plethora of health benefits. So just doing some of these things is better than doing none. You know what I mean? Getting better sleep is better than not getting any sleep. You know, a little bit of cilantro is better than having none cilantro. You know what I mean? But turmeric, you know, if you add that into your daily regimen, you know, you can be better off for it. Okay. Um, but let's look at some of the things that it does for your body.
Someone were to truly objectively evaluate turmeric, okay, I don't think there's one condition, one health problem that you couldn't find some benefit from taking this right here. It's amazing. I've been growing turmeric for the last 9 months, and I finally harvested it, and my wife and I are eating it. We're just chewing it. It's like an aromatic carrot. It's not very strong, but boy, does this have some serious potent properties. But first, let me talk about how to increase the bioavailability of turmeric. Now, anytime you take turmeric in a supplement, I highly recommend you don't take it in the curcumin extract only. You want the whole plant, because curcumin is only one of many, and I'm talking about thousands of different phytonutrients in turmeric. So if you get something that says curcumin extract, also make sure it comes with the turmeric powder. Or you could just, like I said before, chew the whole thing. Number 2, black pepper or white pepper will help you increase the absorption by roughly 2,000%. The white pepper actually increases the absorption a little bit better, but they're both pretty similar. Now, what you could do if you're going to take a supplement or just consume this, you can just take a black peppercorn or a white peppercorn and just swallow it. That will help. And thirdly, add some fat at the same time you're consuming it. The question is why? Because a lot of these phytonutrients, including curcumin, are fat soluble. So in order to better absorb them, you need some fat. You can do ghee, you can do butter, MCT oil, coconut oil, olive oil, any of the fats, just a little bit. Now, the other thing to know is that these phytonutrients are a bit heat sensitive. So if you're going to put them in your foods, chances are they're not going to be as potent. The other point is, if you get a supplement with turmeric or the curcumin extract, make sure you get the one that's freeze-dried, because freeze-dried allows for these enzymes to be activated. So they're in a state that's dormant, but they're not overly processed or heated. So let's just do a deep dive into what this stuff actually can do for your body. Out of all the plants, I would imagine that turmeric is right at the very top as far as the number of studies that were done on this. I'm talking about double-blinded, placebo-controlled studies on all sorts of things. The 2 big areas of research for turmeric are, number 1, inflammation, and number 2, cancer. And the amazing thing about turmeric is that it has virtually no side effects. There's been no deaths, no serious side effects, maybe some slight digestive problems if you have too much. But even at high doses, there's no major serious side effects like there are with medications. And they've compared a lot of different medications to turmeric, and turmeric keeps up with these medication effects. Okay, so let's start with antioxidant potential. It increases glutathione. It increases other antioxidant networks in your body by actually increasing your ability to activate these antioxidants. There are certain genes that turn on or turn off your antioxidants, and turmeric has the ability to turn them on to help fight off free radical damage that's involved with oxidation and inflammation. Turmeric also has potent effects for your brain and nervous system. It's been tested to show significant improvements in Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, other neurodegenerative disorders. It's also been shown to decrease the formation of plaquing in the brain. It has very potent cardiovascular effects in helping lowering blood pressure, decreasing lipids, help slowing down the formation of plaquing in arterial sclerosis and clogged arteries. It also protects that inner lining of your arteries, the endothelial layer that is usually most vulnerable to inflammation. Now, from a microbe standpoint, turmeric is a powerful antimicrobial, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-candida, antifungal, antiparasitic, anti-H. pylori. So it's great to take if someone had an infection. It shows great benefits to dermatitis and many other skin problems, psoriasis. It's great for the liver too, to protect the liver against fat formation, fibrosis, which someone develops after they have inflammation in the liver. Because turmeric has very potent anti-inflammatory properties, it's going to slow down fibrosis. Certain things in turmeric also increase bile salts, and that gives you a whole cascade of improving digestion, increasing the fat-soluble vitamins. Turmeric helps support the gut mucosal lining, and that's really important to prevent autoimmune diseases, allergies, and immune deficiencies. Curcumin in turmeric directly targets the DNA to help protect the DNA against free radical damage, to help in the improvement and repair of DNA. It also helps the cells that are damaged commit suicide, and that's a good thing. It's called apoptosis, which is controlled cell death if there's a problem in the cell, which that right there can help lessen the risk for cancer. Curcumin also protects the cell if someone is taking chemo or radiation therapy, as well as increasing the effectiveness of that treatment. Turmeric also helps the endocrine system in many different ways. One big way is to make insulin more sensitive. So if someone has insulin resistance as a pre-diabetic or a diabetic, it helps insulin become more sensitive. There's been quite a few studies, and I'm talking about like clinical trials that are double-blinded, placebo-controlled studies showing protection against a pre-diabetic going into a diabetic. Also, at the same time, diabetics taking this greatly reduce the complications from diabetes. So even though they have diabetes, they have a lot less side effects. Also, turmeric shows great therapeutic benefits in being an adaptogen, which is something to help you increase your tolerance against stress. This has also been used to help depression, anxiety. So it can help both mood disorders as well as cognitive disorders. But like I said before, cancer and inflammation are the two primary things that turmeric is known for. There's a lot of research in many different types of cancers, not only directly targeting the cancer, but inhibiting a lot of the mechanisms that are involved with cancer, including inhibiting angiogenesis, which is feeding blood flow to the cancer, countering some of the mechanisms that cancer and tumor cells use to suppress your own immune system. So it actually helps your cells prevent the cancer cell from surviving. And also in one study, they found curcumin inside a colon cancer cell, which means that somehow it ended up there, which is a good thing because now that can create some really cool effects. There's many different pathways involved with inflammation. And so curcumin seems to inhibit most of those pathways, which gives a very broad spectrum approach for inflammation. I'll include one study that shows all the different medications that work for inflammation and then how curcumin mimics a lot of these medications. And so curcumin is not actually a root, it's a rhizosome, which is kind of like the stem of a plant that lives underneath the soil to help protect it. And like I said before, it's not bad, but if you're not growing it, just go to the grocery store, go ahead and buy some organic and just eat 2 or 3 of these per day to prevent a lot of problems.
Yo, Esau's sick. I'm gonna try it though, just because I never even thought about eating it like that, but Esau got a lot of problems. All right. But anyway, it's got the right idea. You know what I mean? Turmeric is it works wonders. Okay. And you know, like I said, inflammation, pain, clearing out the cobwebs, a lot of good stuff comes with turmeric. All right. So moving on from there, you can juice it, make some juice and take shots of it, you know what I mean? Just like wheatgrass, you can make, you know, shots of wheatgrass. Very, very acquired taste, both of them. But you know what I mean? Everything can't taste like ice cream, cake, and candy. You know what I mean? If it did, we might have a more a more slimmer population. Okay. But it's some things we gotta do for our health, our our body, carrying all this weight. It's not good for our joints, and it adds on to pain, your knees and your back, your ankles, and all that stuff. So let's let's battle back. Let's battle back to a time once not too long ago. Okay. Let's go to Jeremiah 6, verse 20. The way the Most High talks about the sweet cane. Um, this is something that, like sugar cane is you know, it wasn't meant to be used as much as it is, like in America, the West Indies, growing that sugar cane and realizing that people have an addiction to it is a way to make money. Same with tobacco, cigarettes. Once people are addicted to it, they're going to keep buying it, right? Same thing with the sugar cane. And you know, maybe at one point in time, it's like, okay, I get to have some sugar today. You know what I mean? I haven't had sugar in 3 years. You know what I mean? But in America, it's everywhere. It's in everything. It's in ketchup. It's in juice. It's all over. So we have now a dependency on it, and it's causing us to get sick. People are saying that this is a poison. Taken in large doses, you can imagine what it's doing to our bodies. All right, let's bring that out. Jeremiah 6 and verse 20.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 6 and verse 20. To what purpose cometh there to me incense from Sheba, and the sweet cane from a far country? Your burnt offerings are not acceptable, nor your sacrifices sweet unto me.
So Most High is using that as an example. Like, yeah, you're bringing in this sweet cane, this sweet, the sugar cane, pretty much, right? From a far country. You're bringing me incense from Sheba. Like, nah, it's not acceptable. I don't want it. Do you know what I mean? But it's putting it like pretty much on the pedestal that this is like, you come back from traveling, like I got this sugar cane, I got this sugar from Ethiopia or something, or Liberia or Libya, you know what I mean? And it's supposed to be a big deal. In America, it's in everything, and it's causing us to be sick. So this is from Dr. Sebi. Dr. Alfredo Bowman tweeted this: sugar in a baby's brain is called ADHD. Sugar in an adult's brain is called dementia. Sugar in your eyes is called glaucoma. Sugar in your teeth is called cavities. Sugar in your sleep is called insomnia. Sugar in your blood is called diabetes. Excess sugar in your body is called cancer. So now we see that a lot of the things that is wrong with people um, seems like has an origin. One of those origins being sugar. So let's watch this TED Talks regarding um, what we're dealing with when it comes to sugar.
Picture warm, gooey cookies, crunchy candies, velvety cakes, waffle cones piled high with ice cream. Is your mouth watering? Are you craving dessert? Why? What happens in the brain that makes sugary foods so hard to resist? Sugar is a general term used to describe a class of molecules called carbohydrates, and it's found in a wide variety of food and drink. Just check the labels on sweet products you buy. Glucose, fructose, sucrose, maltose, lactose, dextrose, and starch are all forms of sugar. So are high fructose corn syrup, fruit juice, raw sugar, and honey. And sugar isn't just in candies and desserts. It's also added to tomato sauce, yogurt, dried fruit, flavored waters, or granola bars. Since sugar is everywhere, it's important to understand how it affects the brain. What happens when sugar hits your tongue? And does eating a little bit of sugar make you crave more? You take a bite of cereal. The sugars it contains activate the sweet taste receptors, part of the taste buds on the tongue. These receptors send a signal up to the brainstem, and from there it forks off into many areas of the forebrain, one of which is the cerebral cortex. Different sections of the cerebral cortex process different tastes: bitter, salty, umami, and in our case, sweet. From here, the signal activates the brain's reward system. This reward system is a series of electrical and chemical pathways across several different regions of the brain. It's a complicated network, but it helps answer a single subconscious question. Should I do that again? That warm, fuzzy feeling you get when you taste grandma's chocolate cake? That's your reward system saying, yes. And it's not just activated by food. Socializing, sexual behavior, and drugs are just a few examples of things and experiences that also activate the reward system. But overactivating this reward system kickstarts a series of unfortunate events: loss of control, craving, and increased tolerance to sugar. Let's get back to our bite of cereal. It travels down into your stomach and eventually into your gut. And guess what? There are sugar receptors here too. They're not taste buds, but they do send signals telling your brain that you're full, or that your body should produce more insulin to deal with the extra sugar you're eating. The major currency of our reward system is dopamine, an important chemical or neurotransmitter. There are many dopamine receptors in the forebrain, but they're not evenly distributed. Certain areas contain dense clusters of receptors, and these dopamine hotspots are a part of our reward system. Drugs like alcohol, nicotine, or heroin send dopamine into overdrive, leading some people to constantly seek that high. In other words, to be addicted. Sugar also causes dopamine to be released, though not as violently as drugs. And sugar is rare among dopamine-inducing foods. Broccoli, for example, has no effect, which probably explains why it's so hard to get kids to eat their veggies. Speaking of healthy foods, let's say you're hungry and decide to eat a balanced meal. You do, and dopamine levels spike in the reward system hotspots. But if you eat that same dish many days in a row, dopamine levels will spike less and less, eventually leveling out. That's because when it comes to food, the brain evolved to pay special attention to new or different tastes. Why? 2 reasons. First, to detect food that's gone bad. And second, because the more variety we have in our diet, the more likely we are to get all the nutrients we need. To keep that variety up, we need to be able to recognize a new food, and more importantly, we need to want to keep eating new foods. And that's why the dopamine levels off when a food becomes boring. Now back to that meal. What happens if in place of the healthy, balanced dish, you eat sugar-rich food instead? If you rarely eat sugar, or don't eat much at a time, the effect is similar to that of the balanced meal. But if you eat too much, the dopamine response does not level out. In other words, eating lots of sugar will continue to feel rewarding. In this way, sugar behaves a little bit like a drug. It's one reason people seem to be hooked on sugary foods. So think back to all those different kinds of sugar. Each one is unique, but every time any sugar is consumed, it kickstarts a domino effect in the brain that sparks a rewarding feeling. Too much too often, and things can go into overdrive. So yes, overconsumption of sugar can have addictive effects on the brain. But a wedge of cake once in a while won't hurt you.
Okay, so we'll keep that in mind. The effects that sugar has on the brain and access on their body should limit it, and look at some things. Say if you have ice cream, you have a gallon of ice cream in the refrigerator. Jones gonna be gone by the end of the weekend. You know you shouldn't be doing it. You eat way too much of it. Say if you switch from the ice cream to a yogurt, the yogurt might have sugar in it too. Some Greek yogurts that they're plain, they don't have any sugar in it. But other ones that might have strawberry, pineapple, um, vanilla, honey, something like that. They have sugar in them, the sugar added, and it might, it'll taste good, you still have that, get the little sugar in there, but it might be as bad as, say, the ice cream. So small steps towards being a healthier version of yourself, all right, is very necessary in these last days. And we got to look at things like this, right? So, you know, the tariffs with China is going to start taking effect, I believe, this week, next week, and beyond, right? Because the ports are empty and there's no shipments going back and forth. That was our number one trading partners, America's number one trading partner. China makes a lot of our pills too, right? So here we are, you might take, this for diabetes, you might take this for high blood pressure, this for cholesterol, and all of a sudden you're going to notice that the pills that you need aren't available. What are you going to do? You got to take it back. You got to take it back to the essence, you got to take it back to eating healthy. A lot of those pills, the doctors will tell you, you can kind of keep living your lifestyle and taking the pills and, you'll be all right. They recommend that you change your lifestyle, but since you're taking the pills, it's like, sure, eat the pork, eat the shrimp, eat the crab, eat the lobster, They don't really tell you what to eat and put in your body. Okay. That's not going to be available. A lot of these pills, more than likely, were not going to be available. So changing now, making small lifestyle changes now, is important. Exercising now is important. Like I was saying, instead of taking the escalator or the elevator, take the steps. Do a couple more push-ups a day. You say, I don't do any push-ups a day. Well, start. Move your body around, stretch, get flexible. All right. Being here in the last days, we see what's happening. We got to make moves for the better. Okay. Let's go to Exodus 30 and 23. Mm. Yeah, and the side effects of these medications. If you read the insert to the medications you're on, you be like, damn, I don't want that. Your kidney could fall out, your big toe might turn into your little toe, and you're like, I don't know if I want that. How about I just don't stay up late and eat terrible food? I go to sleep a decent hour, put cilantro on my food, you know, um, have less sugar, right? Maybe put some turmeric in my I sprinkle some turmeric in my smoothie. It's just a little powder. It costs me like $2, $3 at Trader Joe's. I will definitely go to Trader Joe's in a heartbeat. I don't know where you're from or where you live at, but Trader Joe's is normally in the Edomite neighborhoods, and they try to, put the cheap, terrible food in our neighborhood. I go where they're eating. What are you guys eating? Oh, okay. All right, we eating together then. You know what I'm saying? We're not actually eating together, but you know what I mean? I'm gonna figure out what y'all doing and I'm gonna combat it. Because you're trying to get us hooked on dyes and terrible foods so we get sick and you're playing they play the long game. Almost like they put their hands up like, I didn't know that dyes were bad. I didn't know that this was Food and Drug Administration's negative to put food and drugs in the same building. I didn't know that. So they all kind of raise their hand like I didn't do anything wrong. Um, well, they are. They are doing something wrong, and we're gonna call them on it and not fall into their trap. All right. So, like I was saying previously, I go to Trader Joe's. I got the turmeric. It's the powder, and it's a lot. You don't use all of it. It's a couple sprinkles in my smoothie. Can't even taste it, can't even see it, but it's there. All right. And anything else I want to put in there, cinnamon, ginger, whatever, uh, to, keep things going in the right direction. All right, let's bring that out. Exodus chapter 30, verse 23.
Now, this is the book of Exodus, chapter 30 and verse 23. Take thou also unto thee principal spices of pure myrrh, 500 shekels, and of sweet cinnamon, half so much, even 250 shekels, and of sweet calamus, 250 shekels.
So he's talking about how to make the anointed oil, right? But I wanted to just get that part, and it talks about the principal spices. So all spices aren't created equal. The principal spices would be what? Sweet cinnamon. Let's talk about the cinnamon. You can, I talked about yerba mate, right? It's an alternative to coffee. Coffee gets you jittery, you're moving around, and I need energy, right? And by 2 hours later, you're knocked out, you're drooling, your supervisor's trying to wake you up, and you're getting up pretending like you were praying. They're like, no, just meet me in the office. We'll get the paperwork written up. So coffee ain't all good. Yerba mate has a nice sustained energy level. You can put honey in it, which is delicious with yerba mate. A cinnamon stick, which is delicious with yerba mate. You had hot yerba mate with honey and a cinnamon stick, you're doing good. And they say that is the V8 of tea. Meaning V8 like that nasty drink. I mean, it's an acquired taste, right? But it has all the vitamins and minerals you need, and it starts your day off right, better than coffee, in my opinion. Um, so that cinnamon stick, you put a cinnamon stick in green tea. I don't usually start my day off with green tea because you can become nauseous. I don't know why. It feels like, oh, my stomach hurts. You know what I mean? But like a nauseating feeling having green tea first thing in the morning. Now, if you start off drinking some water, have an orange, and then maybe an apple, and then some green tea, that changes things. But when you start off top with green tea, it could be nauseating. And that's in my opinion, and I heard other people would say it too. But the cinnamon stick changes everything. You put a cinnamon stick in some green tea with some honey, it's delicious. Okay. Now let's talk about cinnamon. What will happen if you had cinnamon every day? What if you started garnishing your tea with cinnamon? What changes? Well, let's see.
Everyone knows that being overweight does have consequences. And our objective here in this video is to share something with you that you can not only speed up your metabolism, help your blood glucose and insulin levels, as well as so many other things by just becoming tuned in to cinnamon. Let me explain the benefits first of what cinnamon can do for the physiology, the health, the wealth of our body. And then I'm going to explain why this cinnamon stick and how this cinnamon stick can do wonders when it comes to you losing weight. Cinnamon contains compounds that possess anti-inflammatory properties, which help reduce inflammation in the body and support overall health. And cinnamon has antimicrobial properties, antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal, that can do wonderful things to keep your body healthy. And studies show that cinnamon can enhance your cognitive function, your memory, and attention by improving your brain function. And cinnamon will help increase your blood circulation, which can support cardiovascular health and your overall well-being. And cinnamon also has cancer-fighting properties. Those powerful compounds in cinnamon, those antioxidants, the cinnamaldehyde, has been shown to inhibit cancer cells from growing. And cinnamon has been known to reduce heart disease. And it's been linked to lowering the bad cholesterol called the low-density lipoproteins, or LDL, as well as our triglycerides. And those fats are risk factors when it comes to clogging of our arteries that can block off blood circulation to our heart that we call a heart attack, or our brain that we call a stroke. Cinnamon has been proven over and over to make you more insulin sensitive, meaning it will allow glucose to get into the cells much easier, taking the stress off the pancreas, and cinnamon will help your digestive system, relieving gas and bloating, as well as soothing your stomach discomfort. And that powerful aroma in cinnamon will do wonderful things within the brain, the neurotransmitters, as well as the hormones, to make you feel more relaxed, more serene, to put you in a better mood, to help you sleep better so you can wake up refreshed. And cinnamon has been used in oral healthcare products for its antibacterial properties, which helps bacteria from growing as well as combating bad breath. And not only is cinnamon used as an aromatherapy, yes, it's delightful to smell that cinnamon making its way our respiratory tract into our lungs, but those powerful anti-inflammatory properties helps lung health. And cinnamon stimulates the insulin receptors of our cells, allowing the uptake of glucose much easier, making you more insulin sensitive, less insulin resistant. And remember that when you have normal blood sugar levels, this helps spark up your metabolism so much easier. It's going to prevent that excessive storage of fat, that visceral fat, which is the dangerous fat. And the main compound in cinnamon is the cinnamaldehyde that has those powerful thermogenic effects. And thermogenesis refers to the process by which the body generates heat and increases your metabolic rate. And by activating thermogenesis, cinnamon will increase calorie expenditure and contribute to fat burning. And cinnamon plays a tremendous role with your insulin and fat storage. As we're increasing insulin sensitivity, cinnamon supports the body's ability to utilize stored fat for energy. And if you're eating too much processed refined foods, too much sugars, even just drinking too much fructose, your body is going to become more inflamed. All diseases are tied into inflammation. But the cinnamaldehyde in cinnamon reduces that inflammation. It has a tremendous impact of keeping it down. And when your inflammation is down, that's when your metabolism can spark up to help you burn fat. And there's no doubt that just a simple cinnamon stick can do wonderful things when it comes to increasing thermogenesis, increasing your metabolic rate, increasing satiety. That means it's going to increase your leptin levels and lower your ghrelin levels. Your leptin is your satiety hormone, your ghrelin is your hunger hormone. It's going to help your gastrointestinal system. It's going to balance out your blood glucose and insulin levels, as well as many, many other things. But here's what you need to do. You're just going to put it in your mouth and start chewing it and sucking on it as time goes on. If it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. When I was in India, I walk around, I'm seeing everyone with cinnamon sticks in their mouth. And I was curious why. The research shows that cinnamon does wonderful things and increase your metabolic rate. And it is important that you must start eating healthy again. Getting rid of those fried, those processed refined foods, your fruits and vegetables, your prebiotics, those soluble fibers, as well as those healthy lean meats if you like, or fish, your whole grains. You got to get your sleep. You need to exercise. At least something, you need to keep moving. Movement is life. It's all about biomechanics. You need to keep the stress levels down. But I challenge you, take your cinnamon stick and just suck on it. It's delicious. Do wonderful things for your body. It's going to give you that satiety. When the brain thinks that there's something in the mouth, it's not going to give you that excessive hunger. It will decrease the hunger. That's what cinnamon does. These oils get into your system, they get into your bloodstream, and then your body can do its thing. And hopefully, you're going to see these great results real fast. Please share this video with your friends and family.
All right, so cinnamon. You could put it in your smoothie. Like, I don't know about the cinnamon stick, but you put some powder into your smoothie. You could put a cinnamon stick into some tea. Like Esau, walk around chewing it. I ain't know nothing about that, but guess you could do that as well. But it's just small things that we can do to increase our overall health, you know, by leaps and bounds, actually. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 29. Got two more. This next one is a T. It's called Paul de Arco. I might have talked about this before. It reminds me of a movie called Medicine Man with Sean Connery when he was I think he was in the Amazon rainforest. And they're looking for a cure for cancer, and they found it in the bark of a tree. So Paul de Arco is actually bark of a tree. So when I heard about this, I'm like, oh, I remember seeing a movie about that. Now, did they say it was Paul de Arco and Medicine Man? No. But when you look at all the things that Paul de Arco does, you say, man, this stuff, how come I'm just hearing about this? But you're very aware of the other medicines for heart disease and diabetes and cancer and all this other stuff, but all the natural things they don't talk about a lot. Now, am I pro 100% natural and never any medication from e-salt? No, not at all. It would be naive to think that the Most High didn't put the spirit on. Doesn't have to be e-salt either. He could have, even though his name might be on the pill or whatever, 9 times out of 10 he stole it from Jake, you know what I mean? But that's neither here nor there. We can't naturally assume that, oh man, it's the white man's medicine. I don't want none of this, that, and the third. You got to have discernment. You know what I mean? Is this beneficial to me? How far along am I in my sickness battle or health battle? Can I completely do this? Battle back with just nature, the things that fruits and vegetables, or am I too far gone? Maybe I need a little help as far as medicine goes. You got to answer these questions yourself. So, but keep in mind that always eating healthy is always positive. It's always a good thing. You know what I mean? But sometimes you might need medication to get you where you need to be. Okay. Let's bring that out. Genesis chapter 1, verse 29.
Con, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 29. And Yahweh said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, and the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat.
So he gave us every herb bearing seed, every tree, and every fruit of the tree, the yielding seed, okay, which will be for meat. Paul de Arco is a tree, and we're going to learn more about it.
Pau de Arco, derived from the inner bark of the tababuia trees native to South America, emerges as a botanical marvel with a wealth of potential health benefits deeply rooted in traditional medicine. Revered by indigenous communities for centuries, Pau de Arco is celebrated for its multifaceted properties, ranging from potent antifungal and antibacterial effects to its anti-inflammatory prowess. Rich in antioxidants, this herbal remedy offers cellular protection against oxidative stress and presents promising avenues in cancer prevention research. Its immune-enhancing capabilities, digestive support, and potential cardiovascular benefits further underscore its significance in holistic health practices. Here are 12 benefits associated with Pau de Arco for health. Immune system support. Pau de Arco may have immune-enhancing properties, stimulating the activity of white blood cells and supporting overall immune function. Antioxidant protection. Rich in antioxidants, Pau de Arco helps neutralize free radicals, protecting cells from oxidative stress and potentially reducing the risk of chronic diseases. Cancer prevention. Some studies suggest that Pau de Arco may have anti-cancer properties, inhibiting the growth of certain cancer cells. Detoxification support. Pau de Arco may aid in detoxification processes by promoting the elimination of toxins from the body. Cardiovascular health. Preliminary research indicates that Pau de Arco may have cardiovascular benefits, including potential effects on blood vessel health and blood pressure. Pain relief. The anti-inflammatory properties of Pau de Arco may contribute to pain relief, making it potentially useful for individuals dealing with chronic pain conditions. Respiratory health. Pau de Arco has been traditionally used for respiratory conditions, and its anti-inflammatory effects may provide relief for conditions like bronchitis. Antiviral effects. Some studies suggest that Pau de Arco may have antiviral properties, potentially aiding in the prevention and management of viral infections. Antiparasitic properties. Pau de Arco has been used traditionally for its potential to combat parasites, and some research suggests antiparasitic effects. Urinary tract health. Pau d'Arco's diuretic properties may contribute to urinary tract health by promoting increased urine production and assisting in the elimination of toxins. Joint health. Pau d'Arco's anti-inflammatory effects may extend to supporting joint health, potentially reducing pain and inflammation associated with conditions like arthritis. Thank you so much for watching. Please like it, subscribe, and hit the bell button because you'll get notified when we publish the next video.
Okay, so that is Paul d'Arco. I like it. It's a delicious tea. You can honey makes everything good, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I don't put sugar in my tea. I think that's going backwards. Normally a honey person. Keep in mind though as well when if you have tea at night and you do have honey in it or whatever, you should definitely brush your teeth before you go to sleep. It's similar, just like having sugar on your teeth before you go to sleep. You want to brush that so you don't end up with cavities or things of that nature. But Paul d'Arco, let it seep in the water for like 20 minutes or whatever because it's bark. Um, but uh, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I do recommend it. Some of them come in tea bags, some of them come in the loose bark, and you might have your own tea bags or mesh, metal mesh tea ball, whatever like that. But antimicrobial, antifungal, anti everything. You know what I mean? So as they said, the bunch of the aunties, uh, something to look into, and at a time maybe if you're making lifestyle changes from soda, from beer, from excessive drinking or whatever to um to a more holistic, natural state of being, tea is very good for that. You know what I mean? Um, More expensive teas will cost like $8 a box or something like that. But
Okay, yeah, we're still in the control. Let's see, how are we doing here?
say like $8 or whatever for a box of tea. You still get 20 of them, you know what I'm saying? So it's worth it's actually worth it. But something to consider, if you don't drink tea at all, I recommend that you get on board, you know what I mean? Chamomile, it's a nice tea to have in the morning. Lavender is a nice tea to have at night. It calms, soothing, relaxing during the day. Green tea in the morning, yerba mate. Um, you start off with black tea, which has some caffeine in it, get you moving around. So there's plenty of different teas for different occasions that if you have high blood pressure, hibiscus is known to lower the blood pressure. So something to consider. All right. Before I get to the last video, I'm gonna put something on two things actually. One, I want to show you this video. Trailer actually that is instrumental. Matter of fact, we're gonna do the extended trailer. All right. So for anybody that's thinking about a lifestyle change, or if you're not, just still check this out. This Edomite made a lifestyle change and go from where he was to where he's at. And it's something we all can do. You know what I mean? It just takes, discipline. But you're disciplined when it's what? Day of Atonement, it says, hey, man, you eat, you can get cut off. You know what I'm saying? Be like, I'm not eating nothing. Brothers wait 20 minutes after the sun goes down just to make sure, I'm not eating on the Day of Atonement. So you have the discipline. Just, can you continue on to do it? You know what I mean? But let's check this out. What Esau has done. He was almost dead. And in reality, a lot of us don't even get to see the doctor enough to realize that we're in bad shape. You know, realize that we might have diabetes or cancer or something like that. So, you know, if you don't have insurance or you haven't been to the doctor, there's something definitely to consider, positive lifestyle change to further, you know, to add on to your life expectancy. So here's the trailer.
Years ago, this is what I saw when I looked in the mirror. Looking good. Well, the years rolled by and I kept seeing that same fit-looking bloke looking back at me. Who was I kidding? I didn't look like that anymore. I looked like I've swallowed a sheep.
All right, Joe, come on over and step on the scale over here.
Back. We could be brothers here, right? Here, look, man, it's sitting here. See.
Kids of today are not expected to live as long as their parents. This is really serious.
She's nearly dead. I might have already had a heart attack and died.
Nevaeh, Kayshawn.
I've just arrived in the United States. I'm not.
Somebody put their phone on. All right, let's keep going. Keep your phone on mute, y'all.
Not going to eat any of your food.
61% of the American diet is processed foods.
Convenience foods.
Processed foods don't even have 1/10 the original nutrients that were in the food in the native state.
When was the last time you saw this growing on a tree?
Never.
Why are people eating it? Because they're stupid. I came to America to save myself. I've got a thing called chronic urticaria. I've been taking pills night and day. Looking at these bottles here, it doesn't look good, does it? I have a plan. All I'm going to do is drink juice. Green juice. 60 days. What kind of juice? Any fresh vegetable and fruit juice. So what sort of food do you eat? I eat a lot.
Fried foods.
I don't know, but I hope God got ribs in heaven. I'm a happy fat guy.
How did you get overweight?
I don't know.
I went 4 years one time eating only on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
This is your lunch. Look at that. That's a lot of food right there.
I'm on a juice fast.
A what? Just drinking juice.
Looks very interesting.
What do you think?
That's okay.
I'm determined to adopt a healthy lifestyle. But first, I have to get through the next 60 days. First few days are the toughest. Not eating, it's kind of like you're cutting yourself off from society.
Juice fasting, you're still eating something. You're drinking nutrients, particularly a lot of micronutrients that are coming from fruits and vegetables.
I'm not going for skinny, I'm just going for healthy. I get migraine headaches if I smell certain things or if I eat certain things. And I mean, literally a migraine headache that can make me sick, can't see, can't hear, throwing up, the whole bit.
I'm a type of guy that hasn't gone 4 hours without eating an entire meal.
I would say generally we do eat fairly balanced meals. I don't live on Cheetos.
Joe, this is Phil. Is it too late, Dad, for help?
I don't want anyone to see me like this. I'm not angry. I'm just in pain.
I offered him help. I've got to get over there and see what I can do. Good luck, mate.
That's a tough thing, the emotional attachment to food. It's bloody tough.
I'm
starving. I gotta watch that and drink this.
It's infectious, this healthy lifestyle. These people around me are all eating micronutrient food. They're all going to the gym. This might really be working. As I travelled across the country, what I gained was far more than what I lost.
That's you?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's you.
Who would have thought I'm getting excited about a broccoli salad? The pelvis hip bone, like here. I haven't felt that for 10 years.
Oh,
The point here is we have an unprecedented opportunity in history to be healthier and live longer than ever before.
I don't have the migraines anymore, so that is a big, huge plus. I feel like I'm 21 years old again.
Feeling younger, I feel more energetic, I feel like I can focus better mentally.
And I learned that the best way to change the world is to change yourself.
It's becoming a long laundry list of people that are borrowing my juicer.
Lots an apple. Today I just weighed myself and I'm down 6 bowling balls.
Can't tell you how good I feel. I don't take any medication anymore. And that is an absolute miracle.
Speaking to the male model right now.
They were having a screening of Joe's film. And I had this eureka moment and said, this is it. The next day, I started just, I sleep great, my blood pressure is correct. It all happened by seeing this film with Joe. This has exceeded every expectation I had. I feel like I've got a second chance.
A new person. All right, try, mate.
I'd do it again. In fact, I probably will.
No one's gonna come along and wave a magic wand and you're gonna lose 10 inches off your gut. It's not gonna happen. The one thing I've learned, it's up to us, each and every one of us.
So it's a good documentary. It's watching on YouTube. There's part 1 and a part 2. Shemaya them put me on, and you can learn a lot from the other tribes. You know what I'm saying? I know in the West Indies, you can just pick fruit right off the tree. I know people that live there. And it's just different than, of course, living in America. You gotta go to the grocery store, spend $10 for a bag of apples, and you can get an apple off a tree. Also, let me put this on here too. It is a detox, right? Colon detox. Put everybody on to, like I said, talk to your doctor first before talking to the YouTube doctor, right? I'm not a doctor, I just play one on YouTube. Right there, complete system colon cleanse. You have to get that. I don't think they sell that on, you might write down the name, Atunbi, right? If I'm saying it right. I don't think they have it on Amazon. You have to get it directly from the source, right? Directly from the website. But that's supposed to take out everything. Make sure you ain't got nothing to do. Make sure, somebody in the bathroom, you have more than one bathroom, let everybody know. I'm gonna have to need that John. Don't take it before you have to go to work. Don't take it before you have to go to camp. That thing will have you sitting down for a minute. I didn't get one myself as of yet, but I will. All right. Okay. So detox, garnishes, lifestyle changes, and brings us to the next part. Okay. Let's get Ecclesiastes 1 verse 15. What we learned, it's like what was it on Menace to Society when they went to see Purnell, went to see Purnell in jail. He said, man, tell him what we learned was BS. We have to know that what the person that was teaching us stuff, we lived in America, we could have one family member or two family household living in America, the umbrella of Edomite society. We learned a lot of nonsense, you know what I'm saying? Esau is pretty dirty, you know what I mean? He makes up stuff. Esau, I remember Edomite told me, if you urinate on your foot, that kills athlete's foot. That's what Edomite told me. You know what I mean? And that's why this was in high school. He's like, that's why I pee on my foot every time I'm in the shower. Like, that's weird. Even then, I knew that was very weird. You know what I mean? I don't think you should be peeing on your foot anytime soon. So this is what we learned. This is the people that are teaching us how to be healthy, Taylor Swift doesn't wash her legs. You know what I'm saying? She says, hey, if I wash my hair, then all the dirt, all the soap from my hair just go right down to my legs. So I say that to say we're not learning anything from them. We have to learn on our own. We have to do our own research. Um, just because a doctor has on a white coat doesn't mean everything they're saying is correct. That's why you have second opinions. You know what I mean? So especially with when the C word came out, they said, "Oh, you have to hurry up and get it. If you hurry up and get the jab, then you won't get it, and you won't give it to other people, and it'll stop with you." It was like, boom, just stops right with you. And this is what doctors were saying, and they repeated the same nonsense we've been watching on CNN and MSNBC. And come to find out later on, a lot of it was lies and made up. No 6 foot distance did anything. The little mask didn't do anything. Everybody got it anyway, right? So I say that to say we have to do our own research and trial and error. But of course, the Bible tells us what we can and cannot eat. So we already, are one up on that. Okay. And of course, other people's opinions, whether you want to believe them or not, what they feel worked for them. Like I said, I like Paul d'Arco, I like green tea, I like yerba mate. These are things that I personally have drank and ingested, and I feel that it works for me. All right, so let's bring that out. Ecclesiastes 1, verse 15.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1 and verse 15. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered.
All right, so listen, yeah, okay. Esau's not going to get it. He's never going to come back on track and like, you know what? I finally get it. It's just not going to happen. When you watch this video, it'll make more sense. I mean, if you know anything about history, it was hundreds of years, centuries, still hasn't gotten together. Probably not going to get it together anytime soon, right? Millennia. But this next video kind of just it brings everything together. It's the last video. And let's get Job chapter 14, verse 4 on deck.
In 2025, with all the knowledge that we have, all the science that we have, artificial intelligence, we learning so much through social media, right? We have one group of people who still having a problem with proper hygiene practices, in America, and it's at this point I just have to say it's cultural. Because we've seen some of the pushback when people have talked about washing legs in the shower, right? And when people say, what in the hell? Why would you wash yourself? That some of them got mad. We've seen when people, in their community feel that they don't have to take a shower after they get in the pool because they feel chlorine cleans them. You know what I'm saying? But the whole time they want to get out the pool when we get in it, shoot, I think it should have been the other way around, right? But I want you to listen to this woman, what she has been doing with her family, right? With water to keep for everybody to wash their hands in this particular water. I want you to see this water, Lord. Y'all check this out.
It's been about 4 days since I drained the family hand washing water because I learned something the other day. Use soap. So when you wash something, you clean it. My favorite thing about using the same water is when you do this, you're literally washing the dirt. Like you just do this and it like rinses the dirt off and then the dirt's clean.
When I seen that video before I even seen the clip of the sister, that's how I was. I was like, what in the hell did I just watch, y'all? What did I watch? I mean, how do you do this? How do you think that's okay? In 2025. Like I said earlier, with all this knowledge that we have, and you think that's okay? Everybody, listen, how we were raised, if it's not the hottest water you can get and can stand, you're not clean. If you're not using soap and a wash rag, some people may use the what's that thing called, that African sponge or whatever the case may be. But I grew up with wash rags, right? And if you wasn't using something like that in hot water, you're not clean. Bottom line. And I'm like that to this day. The hottest water I can get in the shower, I use, okay, that I can stand within reason. You take a minimum 2 showers a day. If you go outside, work outside in the yard, or do something, get sweaty in the middle of the day, when you come back in from all that sweat, you go in that shower and go take another shower. Okay? One thing that we were raised, soap and water is cheap. And cleanliness is next to godliness. I have never in my life reused no water to wash my doggone hands. Man, go get you a bottled water or something, and you can wash your hands with bottled water. Pour some water on there, some soap, pour it like whatever. You're trying to ration some water, but at least you're using clean water. How do everybody stick their hands into that? It look like the swamps of Louisiana, that water. Muddy, and you gonna sit up here and talk about you gonna clean it? What Dawn dishwashing soap wasn't meant for that? It was meant for cleaning the dishes. Now, because I'm gonna go there because I received these comments. Some of you brothers and sisters, this is cultural at this point. Just like our version of hygiene is cultural too. I don't see how you go from our culture of hygiene to their culture of hygiene. I don't see how you do it. It's sad that when you get in relationships with them, you got to teach them proper hygiene. I'll never forget this comment from a brother. And he said, yeah, I think it was a video I did a long time ago about Taylor Swift talking about not washing her legs in the shower. And Taylor Swift got money. She got money. And she still don't want to take a proper bath, shower. Anyway, the comment that the brother left for me said, yeah, my girl was like that at first when I first got with her. And I had to show her how to bathe. And I'm like, you as a doggone man got to teach a woman how to bathe? This is my thing, especially with women. If that woman don't know how to bathe the right way, she sure don't know how to clean that other area the right way either. So why? I'm sorry. No. This woman here, like, and you remember during the pandemic, you remember how they kept emphasizing washing hands, being clean, and all that sort of thing? Y'all know, they know who they was targeting that at. They wasn't targeting it to FBAs. That wasn't a message directed at us. Because you remember during the pandemic, they were talking about a lot of it was spreading due to hygiene. And if you had proper hygiene practices, we could minimize the spread of this pandemic. That's why they was emphasizing that so much. Some of them go to the bathroom and go do number 2 and don't even wash their hands. I know some of you ladies have seen that. Number 1, number 2, whatever. I know you've seen that. I, as a man, have seen them go in, they finish whatever they're doing, just walk right out. Don't wash their hands. I'm like, how do you not wash your freaking hands, dude? How? Man, it's like, but that water, oh my Lord. Listen, let me teach you some hygiene. I know with FBAs, we are the originators in the foundation of America, and we still teaching hygiene. Okay. So when you go to wash your hands, okay, you don't save water for other people to use. You don't do that, okay? Because the dirt that you have can cause all kind of diseases and things like that, okay? So when you go to wash your hands, you wash your hands in the hottest water that you can stand. Now you could, mix a little cold with it where it can be, enough where it's not burning you, but wash your hands with hot water. rinse them off pretty good. Get you some soap. Put enough soap in your hand and wash that hand thoroughly. It's a lot of lather, okay? It's a lot of soap in your hand, and you washing your hands pretty good. Like the thing said, about 15, 20 seconds of that good soap. Then put your hands back underneath that good hot water, okay? And get all that soap off of you. Then dry your hands, okay? Dry, not on your clothes. Dry your hands on a good towel, okay? Now, you need to be washing your hands. Just if like just on GP, if you go to the restroom, definitely wash your hands, right? It's okay to wash your hands more than once a day. It's okay. You know, if you just feel your hands just dirty, just go wash them. I promise you, soap and water won't hurt you. I haven't met one person that washed their hands and fell out and passed away and went to the next, life. I haven't heard of that. Due to hand washing, right? Proper hand washing can, eliminate certain diseases. Um, Proper hand washing can just be great for your overall health. Now, if you use some soap and this particular soap dries your hands out, then you make sure you have lotion right there so you can moisturize your hands, or you can buy a moisturizing soap to use. They have various good products on the market. Research best way you can. But hand washing is essential for not only the health of your home, but the health of society. Okay? So, what you saw in this video is not something you should do at home, ladies and gentlemen. Not at all. When you washing, you don't sit up here and fill it up full of water. You don't do that. You just let the water run and wash your doggone hands. That's it. That's it. Because like I said, I would rather teach y'all, and I know I teach y'all how to wash your hands, and y'all when something else pops up, you be the carriers or something. But they always want to, always trying to say black people are dirty. Like, really? See, one thing I love about the internet, it's exposing them all day long. Black people is the most clean people that I've ever met. Black folk. You know what I'm saying? Now, I would say, definitely I've been around Hispanics, and they really big on cleanliness too. Traditional Hispanics want to clean on Saturday morning. They whole house. They definitely believe in those hard sponges from Mexico. They believe in that. A lot of Hispanics. That's what I can say that much. But them folks, I don't know what it is about just being just overall clean. I'm not saying all, but I've seen a good portion. Like I said, you got Taylor Swift talking about she not washing her legs in the shower. Yeah, it's a culture issue at that point. It's a culture. It's a culture, and that's just one part of the culture I can't get down with. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think. Well, that sister after that video, it was all, I think it was everybody in the FBA society. It was like, what?
What in the world? Why would you even do that? Like, how much money is saving by saving that water? But it's like it's spiritual. He says cultural. I go with that. But like spiritual, like getting closer to being a hoarder. Like you can't even throw away dirty water. That's something ain't right. You know what I mean? But you know, I just wanted to leave us with that. Like, this is what we learned from. You know what I mean? That was, oh yeah, in order to clean, because the bacteria, when you put the Dawn soap in, and somebody would do that in like a major university, like, yeah, once you use Dawn soap in dirty water, it cleans the water. And we're like, yeah, I read a study on that. But they're the ones doing the study. You know what I mean? So do yourself a favor, unlearn what you already learned and then learn it again. But you can see how being passed down, even though we might not be financially next to them, we stay clean. You know what I mean? What did Stevie Wonder say? Her dresses are old, but never are they dirty. You know what I'm saying? We'll make sure we clean it. We'll go to school with clean clothes. Unless extreme cases and stuff like that. But for the most part, we stay. You know what I mean? Being clean. Not recycling old dirty water though. Goodness gracious. Let's bring that out though. Job chapter 14 and verse 4.
Don, this is the book of Job, chapter 14 and verse 4. Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one.
Yeah, it's just, we're dealing with an unclean beast. You know what I mean? An unclean base person, and you can't turn them around. You know what I mean? So, seeing the writing on the wall with the tariffs in China, seeing that the supply chain is sinking, seeing that they're sending people that didn't do anything wrong to random jails around the world, let's start eating healthy. We might not be, depending on how the Most High has this play out, we might not be eating the best food in the future. You know what I mean? So let's eat it now. Let's get our bodies together now. Let's work out now. Let's do everything we can now, so when that time comes, we're prepared. Okay? And we could be healthy Hebrews. All right? Komi Ashala, we got next. And we're going to close out in prayer. Okay? And we'll come back. Now, let me say one more time. This was not medical advice. Okay? I'm not a medical doctor. These are all videos I've seen on YouTube. These are some things that I experienced myself. So take that as you will, you know what I mean, with maybe a grain of salt, maybe a little bit more, because you look at things through the eyes of somebody else, saying, I did this, it helped me. It might not help you as much as it helped me, but I'm just telling you what I know. All right, so let's stand and face the east, prostrate, face the east, and we'll close out in prayer. All right, this is the Lord's Prayer in Paleo Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Quadash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malachbaka, Daba'a, Ratazaka, Aya, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Aya, Bashamayim, Natananawa, Lacham, Kau, Yuwam, Wasalafnawa, Kabawafnawa, Kasalafnawa, Kabawafinawa, Wala'a, Dabinawa, Banasai 1, Abal, Hawashainawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wa'ala, Watapalaraf, Libalunium, Aman. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6, and verse 9. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Shemai Yashirala Yahweh Eloheinu Yahweh Echad Shemai Yashirala Yahweh Eloheinu Yahweh Echad Shemai Yashirala Yahweh Eloheinu Yahweh Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our power is one. Deuteronomy 6 verse 4. Creole of Israel. Hallelujah. 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 Komiashal. Let's put, if you have olive oil, let's put some oil on your head, and we'll do the anointing prayer. Give you a couple of seconds to do that. If you want to light some incense. All right, so anointing prayer. Yabaraki Yahweh, Shamarka, Ayahawa, Panyahawa, Anyakar, Hanyakar, Yasha Ayahawa, Panyahawa, Anyakar, Shemnakar, Shalom, Yahweh, Bashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, Babakashar, Shemai, Nawa, Aita, Shalak, Micah Allah, Elohim, La, Shemaiah, Barak, Rapar, Azar, Magun, Kazak, Ataziyah, Bawa, Nadiv, Nadiv, Elder Mishael, Elder Mishael, Elder Mishael, Hana Messiah family, Hana Messiah family, Hana Messiah family, Yawasab Atiano family, Yawasab Atiano family, Yawasab Atiano family, Yasha Allah, Yasha Allah, Yasha Allah, Kol, Akim, Kol, Akwathium, Kol, Bunyam, Yasha Allah, Ba'ashem, Hamashiach, Yahushai, Dawada, Allah, Awalam, Aman. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Hashem Mashiach. Yahushai, Baba Kashar, Baba Kashar, Baba Kashar, please continue with the prophecies. Please continue to destroy our enemies and uplift us. Continue to watch over us and protect us, our families, and those that love us and that we love, that we pray for, and protection. Please build us up through wisdom, knowing discernment, knowing the times, knowing what to do next in these last days. And we will be tremendously grateful to you, exalting your name throughout the four corners of the earth. In Yahweh's name we pray. Amen. Khan, all praises. Hopefully this was edifying. A couple key announcements. May 18th, the day of Simon Maccabees, as a Sunday. May 26th will be the new moon, third month. Those are the upcoming events. Please plan accordingly, okay? Philly, let's go 5:30, 50 for market. Komi Ashala, we got next. Shabbat Shalom.